Imagine your family relying on your military pension for decades, and then, overnight, that income completely drops to zero. That's the reality for many military families. Your pension is a benefit for your lifetime, not theirs. The day you pass away, those monthly checks stop. Deciding whether to protect those funds for your spouse, often one of the largest pieces of a retirement income, is a major financial choice. And you're forced to make it on a single form at a single moment at retirement. I'm Alec Sunners, a wealth advisor with Financial Consulate, and today I'm going to walk you through the survivor benefit plan so you can make this decision with a clear head instead of under pressure at the out processing desk. Let's start with what the survivor benefit plan is, because the name doesn't tell you much. SBP is a government annuity you elect at military retirement. It turns part of your retired pay into a monthly check that keeps paying your survivor for the rest of their life after you're gone. Think of it as the mechanism that lets your pension outlive you. You pick a base amount, anywhere from a small floor up to your full gross retired pay. You pay a premium on that base amount while you're alive, and when you pass away, your survivor receives a percentage of it every month for the rest of their life. That payment gets adjusted for inflation each year, the same way your retired pay does. The reason people wrestle with this decision is that the premium is real money coming out of every retirement check, and it can feel like paying for insurance you hope never pays out. So let's put actual numbers to it. For spouse coverage, the premium is 6.5% of the base amount you elect. That comes out of your retired pay before taxes, so the true cost is a little lower than the full premium because it also lowers your taxable income. When you die, your surviving spouse receives 55% of that base amount monthly for life. You don't have to cover your entire pension. The base amount is a number you choose, anywhere from $300 a month up to your full gross retired pay. You can insure all of it, or half of it, or some smaller piece. Whatever base amount you pick, your premium is 6.5% of it, and your spouse's benefit is 55% of it. Say you have $4,000 a month in retired pay, and you elect that whole $4,000 as your base. Your premium runs about $260 a month, and if you pass away first, your spouse gets $2,200 a month for the rest of their life, rising with inflation every year. You might be tempted to pick a low base amount to keep the premium down. If you elect the $300 minimum, your spouse's benefit is only about $165 a month, which won't go far when they need it. Covering less than your full pay is an option, and it's the right one for some families, but that's a call to make after looking at what your spouse would actually need. Without SBP, your spouse gets nothing from your pension after you're gone. So the real question is whether your spouse would need that income, and if they would, how much of it. So let's talk about some of the features of SBP. First, it's inflation protected. The benefit rises with the annual cost of living adjustment, so it holds its value over a 20 or 30-year retirement. Second, there's a paid up provision. Once you've paid premiums for 30 years and reached age 70, the premiums stop entirely, but the coverage stays in full force. Your spouse still receives the full 55% when you pass. Third, there's also no medical exam required to enroll, and no one gets turned down for health reasons. Fourth, and this matters for families with a service-connected condition, the old offset against VA survivor benefits is gone. For decades, if a surviving spouse qualified for both SBP and VA dependency and indemnity compensation, the SBP payment was cut dollar for dollar. People called it the widow's tax. That offset was fully eliminated as of January 2023. Today, a qualifying survivor can receive both benefits in full with no reduction. Those features are real advantages. Whether they add up to the right call for you depends on your own situation. So let's talk about how to think it through. The answer to should you sign up for SBP is that it depends on one main factor. Would your survivor actually depend on this income? For most married retirees where the pension is a significant part of the household's income, the answer leans yes. If your spouse would struggle to cover their expenses without your pension, SBP is doing exactly the job it was designed to do. Where it gets more nuanced is if your survivor would be financially fine without it. Maybe they have a strong pension of their own, or substantial assets, or the age gap and health picture changes the calculation. In those cases, it's smart to run the numbers against alternatives rather than defaulting either way. Keep in mind that if you're married and you want to decline or reduce spouse coverage, your spouse has to sign a written, notarized consent. Congress built that in on purpose because this is a joint decision about a joint future. If you elect SBP at retirement and later decide it isn't right for you, there's a one-time window to get out. Between the 25th and 36th month after you start receiving retired pay, you can voluntarily drop coverage. It still takes your spouse's written consent, and you won't get back the premiums you already paid, but it's an exit that doesn't require a divorce or any other life event. Some people use those first 2 years on purpose. They elect coverage at retirement to keep it in place while they finish their research, sort out life insurance, or wrap up a VA disability claim, and then make the final call with better information. After that window closes, the election is locked in for good, so you have your plan settled before your 3rd year ends. The SBP decision shouldn't be made in isolation. That survivor annuity is taxable income at the federal level, and how it stacks on top of your Social Security, your spouse's own income, and required distributions from retirement accounts all affect the tax bracket your survivor lands in. The base amount you elect, whether you pair SBP with life insurance or use it on its own, and how it fits along your TSP and your overall estate plan, those are all connected decisions. So, should you sign up for the SBP? For a lot of married military retirees, safeguarding a spouse who would depend on that pension income, it's a valuable option on the table. No matter your situation, it deserves a careful look before you commit. Almost half of our advisors are also CPAs, so when we look at something like SBP, we're looking at the benefit and the tax consequences at the same time as one picture. If you're within a few years of military retirement, this is exactly the kind of decision we walk through during a financial physical. We look at your benefits, your tax situation, and your full retirement plan, and we do all of that before we ever ask you to become a client. Go to financialconsulate.com or give us a call. We're in Hunt Valley, Maryland, and we work with military members and their families across the country. You served for decades to earn these benefits. It's worth your time to get them right.